Just when you think Kingstrategist finally learns his lesson about heavy infantry armies. Yeah. Yeah. Once again, I decided to go with the heavy amounts of infantry. So many infantry. So many. And my cavalry force? Still a pile of crap. I only have 3 units of heavily armored English knights. Well, including General's bodyguard. And 2 hobblars. I have 2 billmen. Some armored swordsmen forming up my center. About in front of them, 2 units of English knights. Of course, I do have the odd Welsh unit here for cheapness. Don't ever buy cheap units. And I have 4 yeoman archers for the skirmish. So yeoman archers are actually pretty good. They have a long range, and they'll tear anything. I also given them an armor upgrade. So they're pretty well armored, but up against crossbows they won't be that powerful. The power of balance is in my favor, probably due to the heavy infantry bulk. Like, I got 2 units of billmen here that really do give me a number advantage. But as you can probably tell from my Scottish, one victory is still elusive. So I hope that providing just sheer more weight of numbers, I could win. I was wrong. So very wrong. It actually takes us a while to set up. Takes us a fair bit. Here we go. Now we look over my opponent's army. So, first off, he has 4 units of Pavis, 1 on either flank and 2 in the center, all in loose formation. And he also has 3 units of Sergeant Spearmen. His general bodyguard was over here, which was pretty interesting, but he's got 4 units of heavily armored Teutonic Knights. And I was like, oh no, I do not like the Teutonic Knights. They're good. High morale cavalry. They're like Knights Templars, but German. He also has 4 units of Imperial Knights. They have low morale but AP due to their little maces. And 1 Sergeant Spearman unit. Don't know why they're there. Maybe to protect his knights whilst they engage on the front line. As you can see, me hobblars are just going outside. He's got 1 Imperial Knight just here as well. Likely to defend his flanks, give him an archer advantage. As you can see, I'm really not being cost effective with my hobblars. Hoping that it would be in my range. Stakes were really just deployed there to prevent any early cavalry rushes. I would say a good move. So now I'm moving up to the skirmish stage. My archers would normally be able to shoot, well, using the horses as markers from here. But they always want to move up a bit, so you have to micro them a little bit. So now begins the questionable exchange of Pavis v yeoman archers. The yeomen shoot faster than the Pavis. As you can probably tell, they've already killed 3 in their first volley up against the yeomans. Volley's just inbound. No casualties from the yeoman. So this is how I wanted the battle to go, using longbowmen to win. And as you can see, my opponent's quite happy to let this happen. He doesn't want to take chances being lured into traps, but I kind of get a bit nervous after the first 3 guys fall. Looking back on it now, we would have eventually won, and this just starts off a very unfavorable skirmish. Because my units get grouped up together like this. Even in loose formation, they're still pretty vulnerable. So yeah. It's not going to end well. I got some yeoman archers moving up the center, but he'll reply, I actually forget about that unit, which we'll explain later on. I got some of my hobblars, preparing to do a nice sneaky rear attack. My other hobblars are somewhere around here. Yep, there they are. They're going to straight up run to the center. Just try and take some shots while simultaneously scaring the enemy archers. As you can see, the balance of power is still in my favor, but I've lost more men. I'm not going to say I lose at this point. I stand a fairly good chance. But there was a certain tactic I was trying to employ. The idea was that I would scare his crossbows with the Hoblars because they're cheap, and I would just use the stakes as a means of protection for me longbowmen, but I obviously underestimate the range. So now I'm using my Welsh spearmen here to act as a bodyguard. In fact, I probably could have brought up the billmen as well, because they're also cheap and expendable. Problem is, he moves the spear sergeants in front to start taking the shots for his pavis. But this is really where the English longbow thrives. They can shoot over stuff. As you can see, there is a minor cavalry fight going on here. I charged in some of my Hoblars to engage. And now I have longbowmen shooting in, but this really gives me a little bit more of an advantage. Like, even light cavalry chargers do a lot of damage, but he replies in kindness. My micro failing me, but my Welsh spearmen do show up. But as you can tell, almost immediately the cavalry enters. Almost as if I can't do a thing. Like, I try and cut him off with light cavalry, but yeah. So now he has a very good skirmisher advantage over me. And I decide, screw it. No, not yet actually. I'm still hoping to catch him off micro, because I did that the last few times, but it didn't really work out. He's playing a very defensive posture, keeping the main part of his force in reserve, only using select units of Teutonic Knights to try and deal with my Hoblar attacks. Whilst I could say I have the better micro, I can also say I'm being very dumb, because I brought one. I wouldn't blame it on my troops, but my troops may be a bit unsuited for the task, because in Medieval 2, cavalry is the key. See, I got a very nasty unit of English knights pursuing, armoured sergeants pulling back, and the Welsh spearmen backing them up. Surprisingly, Welsh spearmen are very powerful. His general gets a nice, well, not really a charge, but sort of walks in. There's still major battle going around. He loses micro over here, but as you can probably tell, cavalry acts. The billmen just, yeah. The billmen were absolutely pointless. They may be classed as heavy infantry, but they're still an absolute pile of crap. So I really should have just let my longbowmen shoot into that unit instead of trying to engage him with infantry. Yeah, and this happens again. 2 units of longbowmen going to get charged. Very bad micro off my end. So now at this point I decide, screw it, we're going to do a direct head-on charge. We're going to break his formation, because his infantry is a lot weaker than mine. Imperial Knights, whilst they do have AP damage, and our Knights have very low morale. Problem was, they're surrounded by Teutonic Knights. Very heavy cavalry that will play a big game later on. So yeah, I can afford the casualties because I outnumber him a good chunk with my infantry. I'm running forward with the dismounted medieval knights, and he's aiming at me armored swordsmen. Good move, good move. And my longbowmen here have now just been activated to deal with some threats, but the only real side that I could say I have a cavalry advantage is over here, but the majority of his cavalry still is untouched and haven't moved yet. So now I got my dismounted English knights charging in. His cavalry will do a few last minute charges, and that would devastate me. That's about going to happen, just watch. See, the infantry, you never want to charge cavalry. You want to be braced for a charge. Otherwise, this happens. That was just very messy off me. Very messy. But my dismounted English knights do a good number on the Imperial Knights. I got billmen over here. Billmen are just terrible. And yeah. Engaging the enemy's general, and my Welsh spearmen are actually holding on. Surprisingly, they're pretty good when it comes to fighting other cheap spearmen. They're good for their cost. They're good for their cost, I'll say that much. Yeah, but now you can start to see where this battle's going. Tell my armor swordsmen to charge in to cavalry, hoping that would negate it. I was wrong. So very wrong. Trade did not work out that well. And now, yeah. Like, I did manage to rout one cavalry unit, so that does show you can eventually kill cavalry. But now his infantry can really, he can really get some good hammer and anvils. There was one unit just here, and watch. Yeah, even if they're not that great chargers, they'll still kill. And my men are not exactly, fanatics. They're not going to stay into the battle to the end. And driving a lance for somebody's back is rather effective. My cavalry, I don't know. Like, I forget how important it is to rota charge. Like in Attila, it's somewhat important, but you can at least pin down the cavalry. Once again, charging in the cavalry headlong with swordsmen is not my greatest idea. Admittedly, we do kill a few, though. He just charged straight into me. Billman? I thought you were longbowman. Where are the longbowmen? So we'll just admire some good combat, because I do remember this other comment stating how... So, yeah. Basically, the guy said, you're not getting enough combat for you, but I'm correcting that mistake now. Not the best of combat, though. As you can see, my infantry does valiantly hold on, but the amount of combined charges just annihilates me. I think that might be the English knights, so that's kind of acceptable. But you notice how there's a large amount of casualties that seemingly have no German corpses, well, Holy Roman Empire corpses nearby, apart from that guy. So this is the power of cavalry assaults to your rear lines, and at this point the battle is over. I'm really just trying to rack up as many kills as I can to try and say I did a good job. Like, honestly, it's not ending well. And I call myself the king of strategists. So, yeah. As England, you want to bring more cavalry. And you want to bring your archers, because they are actually more worthwhile than Pavis, in my opinion. Maybe even bring a meat shield unit, so the Pavis would just waste their shots on a meat shield. Admittedly, though, GG, and it was a good match. I feel as if I brought more cavalry and microed it better, I would have won. But alas, that's for another time. Yeah, mistakes. That's what they do. It's really nasty. So I'm just trying to use the stakes to sort of bunker in. Alas, you forget that one unit of Teutonic knights that you allowed to slip through your lines because the bloody Welshmen wouldn't hold the right flank. Yeah. I lost a lot of men over here. A lot of cavalry due to mismanagement issues. Yeah. I need to work on my medieval too. It's been a while since I played, I'll say. I guess I could use that excuse. But GG, the guy done well. I do believe this round my longbowman got a lot of kills. Like, I think I was just panicking. Let's see here. I know, we'll go back to that screen in a second. So yeah, cavalry is pretty vital. The Welshmen did well. Yeomans did very well. Very well. Considering the circumstances. So yeah, much smaller force. I wouldn't say that was cost effective. Well done, Swabita. GG, and don't forget to comment, subscribe, and all that jazz to see me fail more. He had a lot of friendly fire. Yeah, crossbows. They can't shoot over units.